Hello YouTube, this is the first time in this playlist that we will work with returns from functions. So up till now we were creating functions that will do something directly on a screen like printing lines and simple calculations, but right now the task of those functions will be to provide results to the rest of the code so we can grab that result from function, that return from function, and do something with that. Okay, so that's the major difference. So this is the first time when we are going to use integer and not void before function, because let's create function that will just do simple addition. That is very easy thing to understand. Okay, so add numbers will be name of the function, and we're gonna grab integer x and integer y, like containers for names for containers that can grab only whole numbers. And then let's actually, because of size of code, maybe it's nice to use it down there, and let's go to a definition of operations. So now we need to have some abstract container for these addition operation, let's say result, but that's not enough, because every time when for the first time you use something in C++ and lower languages like C, you need to say what is the data type here. So in this case we also must type integer here. Okay, so how we are going to get this result? Well, you can type this on a one line like this. Okay, so this is one way, and another way is this, which is a little bit longer. Result without integer in this case, because we already stated that here, x plus y. Okay, so you can use both ways. It depends how this looks simple to you. So I'm just going to stick with this approach, and please note we don't need to use integer here and here because we already did that here. Okay, so this is just operation. So here's the question: how to grab a result and how to put it to the rest of the code, how to extract it basically from this block of code. Well, we are going to use return keyword. Return to the rest of the system that result. Okay, so now when we call this function inside of main code, something will happen which you probably don't expect. Like, let's substitute these abstract containers with actual values and check what's gonna happen. See, so apparently something is going on. I mean, we have executed this application, but there is no that result. Well, for very simple reason. We must use this result as a part of bigger source of code. So it is not important that we are just calling a function. Of course, we have our results available here, but we are not actually explicitly using that thing. So the simplest possible scenario is just to say cout, and now custom report result of addition, let's say, and now we can call this function freely, and we're gonna end with end line here, and now we will have result on the screen. Check this out. There you go. So please note, it is not enough just to create the function with returns. You actually need to use that thing somewhere. Of course, this will be executed somewhere in the background, but you need to kind of extract it from background with calling it through this. Basically, in this case, we are just doing printing, but also you can flash this to MySQL database. You can flash this to Excel table, to textual external file. Well, of course, if it's textual, it's external. I mean, files are external things. Anyway, so you can grab this stuff and spit it out somewhere in a system, not into editor, not into code, but also somewhere in a system. Okay? So, yeah, that's the one way. Now, another way is to have, let me flush this down a little bit. Another way is to create container for this and then put call of this function with actual arguments into that container, like this. Integer, we must state that when we are creating containers for the first time, container with results, and now let's just call this function. I'm gonna copy paste it right here, and because this is actual command, we must close that with a semicolon, and now here we will substitute this stuff with container. So this is like a jump from result to result. Very well, yeah. Container, and now we'll get exactly same stuff. So let's run it, and there you go. Result of addition is 15. Right, so let me go one more time through this operation, and I'm gonna copy paste this up here. Sure, you can do this if your functions are simple, and the thing will also work. Okay, so we have a function, and the job of that function is return to the rest of the code integer, and that integer we're gonna get it when we combine two integers. These are just abstract containers, so we must put result of this simple operation, in this case addition, into some kind of container. So you can use x, y, z here, whatever you like, abc. Just don't have the same stuff here and here, because then you will run into errors. So this is just abstract container, and the first time when you create it, you must state what is the data type. Now when you have this operation, it is not enough. You also need to have a way to spit it out to the rest of the code, not rest of the system, rest of the code, so you can reuse it multiple times, or at least once, or not at all. And you're gonna do that with keyword return in lower level languages like C++. Now when you have done that, then you can directly call that function with like this, using on the left side custom string while you are printing. Okay, and after custom string you're gonna just state that function with arguments, or you can indirectly create another abstract container, then pack the results of this operation here, and then indirectly use this thing down there. So yep, that's pretty much it in this tutorial, and just practice this couple of times with the simple mathematical operations like subtraction, I don't know, addition, remainder, and yeah, you will get it over time. How many times you can call this function? Well, it's up to you. You can create different containers for different numbers here, for different operations. You can have dozens of these functions, and just practice with that, with a couple simple examples, and you will get that over time. Nothing complicated here, and C++ is a kind of complicated, in a sense, when you compare it to Python or PHP, but still this is kind of understandable. I do know that sometimes people will be confused with these return types and data types for containers, and then you need to always define that thing down there every time when you have something new, but this is low-level programming language. Well, at least higher than assembly. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up as always. Thank you for watching, and see you next tutorial.